Hey y'all, it's Brandon from Fantastic Chair, and I'm back with another video. Alright, so what I'm doing in this video is what is called a gentleman's haircut. Alright, so with this haircut, it kind of varies on how low the client wants it to be on the sides. I have some clients who want it to be pretty low, some that don't want it as low. But for this one, I am using a OA, which would be a half, and I'm getting started with that baseline. I'm using is a 3, and I'm just flicking my wrist out just a little bit towards the top where I'm going to clipper over comb, but this is going to give me a good base to get started with the blending. Now that I've gotten that 3 set in there, I'm going about halfway up with a 1.5. This 1.5 is going to make it much easier for me to blend that half on the bottom up to the 3 that I have on top. Look at my client, ain't he? Trying to figure out how much he wants to cut off. He doesn't know what to do. Like I said, I'm going in with that 1.5, so I'm just going back over it. You do want to make sure that you go over your guidelines a few times just to make sure that everything's cut down exactly how you want it to be, exactly to the length that you need it to be. So now that I've gotten that guideline cut in, I'm going in with my JRLs, and I have my blade open, so that would be a 1. And I'm blending into that 1.5 just so I can get things really rolling. The 1 is definitely going to take out that line of demarcation between the half and the 1.5. So what I like to do is just put my clipper at halfway open, which would be similar to the half that I use with the detachable clippers. And that'll just help me blend out any little heavy spots or dark places between those two. Now that I've gotten that set in, I'm going in with my Fat Masters. You guys know I love my Fat Masters. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I break this blade or something, but I got 2 or 3 extra ones just in case. So what I'm doing is starting with it closed. When it's closed, it's going to be at a 1A. And then I'm just going between my levers. I'm opening it up, blending up to right past that 1.5 line, because when the Fat Masters are open, that'll be like a 2. So this is essentially, if you put a 1 guard on your clippers, that's kind of what the Fat Master is going to give you. So when they're closed, it's kind of at like a 1A, 1, and then when they're open, it's more like at a 2. So now that I've gotten all that blended out, I'm going in with my JRLs again. I have the blade open, and I'm using some clipper over comb work, and I'm just using that to blend that 3 into the top. And I always say 3, but it's really a 3.5 blade, but I'll just call it a 3. Now that I've gotten that blended up, I'm going to start with the taper. The taper is going to be a very light taper because his sides are already at a half, so there's not really that much you have to go up to blend that out. And I'm just I closed my blade all the way to start the taper out, and then I just went up incrementally, just opening it up till I got to that half. And then once I got past the half mark, I opened it up completely so I could blend that half into the 1 again, just to make sure everything was nice and smooth. Also, when I'm doing that blending with the clipper over comb, sometimes when I'm in a lower space where it's not so, I'm not blending up to extremely long hair like I was doing when I was blending the 3 into the top, I'll set that comb directly against the client's head so I can blend maybe the 1.5 that was up to the 3, or any of those smaller areas, just to give a more nicer looking blend. Now I'm getting started on the back taper. Again, I'm following those same steps. I have my blade closed right now, and then I'm just going to work it open incrementally until I get up to that 1.5 or that half. And then once I get past that half, I'll open it up completely and make it a 1, just so I can make sure everything is just blended in as neat as I can get it and as smooth as I can get it. So now that I've gotten that all blended out, I'm going in with my Fat Masters again, just to blend things out. I really didn't need to use them at the bottom because on the bottom it's a half, so they weren't cutting that much. I was just doing it to do it. But just going back in, going over things, spot checking my mirrors to make sure that there's no heavy spots or really dark areas that need to be blended out. Just going back in and fading everything out. Now we're getting started with the cut on the top. I am taking about half of an inch off his top, maybe a little bit less. I always go in with vertical partings. When I first start doing my cut, I do the vertical partings all around, set my guideline at the center of the head, and then work my way towards the front, and then work my way through the sides with vertical partings. And you want to make sure that you're always following your guide. So whatever you cut, lift the hair up and make sure that it's in line. Now that I've got that vertical cut started, I'm going back in to cross-check with horizontal parts. So the horizontal parts will help you to see if there's any areas where you might have missed with your vertical parts and it's like extremely long hairs in there. If you do a really good job with your vertical parts, when you go back to cross-check with the horizontal parts, there won't be that much to cut. But if you don't do as good of a job with the vertical parts, it's always great to go back with the horizontal parts to cross-check, just to make sure that everything is the lengths that you want it to be. And now I'm just using another blending technique, which is slide cutting or slither cutting, and just blending that top down to the bottom. Going in and starting the edge up. I always start my edge ups in the back. I don't know why, I just always do. Now I'm just going back in and touching up that fade, just making sure everything looks like how I want it to. There's nothing wrong with going over things multiple times, as many times as you feel like you need to, until it looks how you want to, or make sure that you're not irritating the client's skin though, but as many times as you need to. Now we're going with the front line up. My client's hairline is a little bit weak in some areas, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm not digging into it too much, just to get into the heavier parts of his hairline. So that's what I'm doing here. Hey y'all, I don't know about y'all, but today is Friday while I'm recording this video, and I just want to say it's Friday and I'm ready to go up my girls and hit the body thing. All right. Okay, I'll leave y'all alone. I know y'all don't want to hear me sing, but why not? It's Friday. All right, so I'm just adding some Pravana leave-in conditioner spray just to get his curls a little bit popping on top. Just so his hair looks a little bit more healthy and has some moisture to it. I'm going to add some enhancements to this cut, but for me, I personally like to show my clients the mirror before I put the enhancements on, because as we all know, enhancements do not last. They do last, but definitely it's not going to last the entirety of the haircut. So I just like to make sure they know what the haircut's going to look like when the enhancements wash off, if they take a shower or they sweat or whatever happens between now and then, that they know that the haircut is still a good haircut despite the enhancements. And as you see, the enhancements did bring his haircut a lot more to life and made it just look more polished and crisp. But yeah, I just like to make sure that my clients know what the enhancements, what their haircut looks like prior to getting the enhancements. Say, sucker, you ain't subscribed yet? Come on, subscribe. Stop playing with me. Stop playing. All right, so you guys get to see what the full haircut looks like. I have my client turn around, check himself out in the mirror. As you see, he likes it. He's surprised. He wasn't used to it being so square because I don't usually do enhancements on his hair. But as you see, it's a good cut. Nice and clean. And again, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate it so much. I really, really appreciate it. And again, thank you for watching.